We were looking forward to hearing him, but anyway. Respected Mrs. Thorat, Dr. Iyer, esteemed panelists, some of them are going to join us now, presentation teams who've come in to represent their organizations, my faculty colleagues, honored corporate guests, students, our wonderful students, and that's not in the script. A good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of the Finance Conclave 2013 Organizing Committee and on behalf of the Finance faculty at SPJIMR Institute of Management and Research, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you at the SPJIMR Finance Conclave. Today, as we roll out the 5th edition of the Finance Conclave, it is a heartening moment for me and for my entire team. In keeping with the key institutional philosophy of influencing practice, the Institute has always strived to bring industry and academia together, shoulder to shoulder, to contemplate, articulate, and debate on contemporary and defining issues which face industry. The Finance Conclave is one of the several such initiatives in this direction. The theme chosen in the Finance Conclave have always been in sync with prevailing needs of industry, be it growth, risk management, competitive strategy, challenges to CFOs, and so on. The theme for today is tapping the business potential in financial services in India. Please permit me to share with you the rationale that drives the choice of this theme. Let me start by saying that this theme is not about financial inclusion alone. It is something broader than that and runs across business segments. The cross-section of our panel, which you will see, is testimony to this. The perspectives that will be showcased today could be described as twofold: inside out and outside in. Please let me explain. The inside-out perspective would be a hard-nosed look at business opportunities, growth, profit, revenues, market share, competition, regulatory challenges, and all that goes in building successful businesses in the financial sector. Equally important would be an outside-in perspective. Now, this would be sensitive to customer needs, customer perceptions on reliability, integrity, need for product development, innovation, lower costs, broader product range, and all such factors that go towards making customers benefit from superior performance. So that they can trust, stick, proliferate, and thereby reward service providers who deliver a value proposition in alignment, of course, with changing priorities and regulation. Henry Ford, whose name was taken today morning in the session that preceded, had made a wonderful statement. He said, "A business that makes nothing but money is a poor business." Apart from making money, how critical is the contribution of financial services in making the growth trajectory of the Indian economy soar? Has the industry lived up to its potential? These are some of the questions that may come up today. Whether pre or post-financial crisis, odes have been sung, and rightly so, to the potential and indeed the resilience of the India growth story by economists, investment bankers, market players, business leaders, and of course, politicians. Some Indian analysts view our economy through a foreign perspective. By doing so, in times good or bad, India is a splendid growth story in relative terms when compared to the developed world. But does the same view necessarily prevail when you look from within at the absolute possibility of lifting vast segments of Indian poor and middle-class households to a better life through sheer economic enablers? This would result in near double-digit inflation, near double-digit GDP growth. We've got used to that word now. Spread across society, and it would create a wow effect the nation yearns for. But for this to happen, some questions are inevitable and are linked to another key SPJIMR institutional philosophy, namely promoting value-based growth. How can the underserved Indian financial consumer be served better? Is this a problem or an opportunity? How can users get financial services and solutions at an optimal cost, affordable to the user and adequately remunerative to the supplier? In the meanwhile, positives galore in the form of potential opportunities. The middle class continues to swell at a rapid clip and is expected to grow from 20% of the population in 2015 to over 37% by 2025. The central government has launched an aggressive program of financial inclusion under the aegis of Reserve Bank of India to ensure that Indians deep down the pyramid have access to financial services and electronic payments. Only 35% of the population has bank accounts and just 10% have life cover. It's the statistics that we heard in the earlier session also. Now that's a dismal figure, but even if you compare it with some emerging economies, not to mention developed ones. On the flip side, the business opportunities, even in the middle class alone, look awesome. But there are major hurdles that come in the way. Do we understand each other's constraints enough? Isn't addressing these issues collaboratively the only way to go? You would have heard from various quarters about India's strengths in terms of vibrant equity markets, demographic dividend, and the lot. You may also have heard a lot about the crying need for world-class infrastructure and supply chains, of the acute pain of high intermediation cost, leading to unviable economic activities in agriculture and industry, which cause a huge human suffering in Indian society. The real economy is seeking solutions that aim at better prices for the end user of goods and services and better remuneration to the provider. Are we in the financial sector seeking similar solutions too? The growth of financial markets is a pointer to the possibilities of immensely diluting the role of the financial intermediary and enhancing, at the same time, value to the saver and to the user of capital. Are we ready for this change? While this could catapult us into sophisticated financial intermediation as practiced in the developed world and also in some emerging economies, it could also be very painful to those who cannot adapt. What is the outlook ahead? We try to search for some answers through today's discussions. A wise person has said, we do not know all the answers. We do not even know all the questions. But here is an attempt, at least in asking some questions. How should financial sector organizations cope with the tug-of-war between delivering what the consumer needs vis-a-vis what delivers organizational profit? How can ethical dilemmas be resolved? Should they be resolved at all? How can we count on financial markets to punish errant behavior? How much value to the table do intermediaries in the business bring, commensurate to their earnings? What more can regulators do? How can they better coordinate efforts between themselves to address the seamless financial needs that improve the lives of users of financial services? What are we learning from the efficiencies and best practices in developed countries and even comparable emerging economies, or indeed from their folly? How can career opportunities, now here is where our students will take more interest. How can career opportunities space in the financial services be widened and laced with more of service that fulfills customer needs rather than a mindset of raking in the profits? Can mindsets change? If so, how? Another important question, why have jobs reached saturation point in glamorous finance functions that are seen with coveted size of unfulfilled aspirations? Is it a laggard economy, a constraining tormentor? Or is it the talented starved tormented to the non-glamorous career spaces? What more can industry do to help? How can SROs, self-regulatory organizations of players, plug the gaps, which regulation cannot? How can conflict of interest be kept at bay and ethical behavior reinforced? At the end of the day, how can we as financial service providers grow, flourish, and prosper on a sustained basis, notwithstanding some of the thorny issues raised above? Another wise person has said, ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies. The time, however, has come for India's financial service businesses to at least ask these questions of themselves and to seek honest answers. These will come in the form of strategic responses and also in the form of grassroots level solutions through a collaborative approach. The solutions are not far away. I once again welcome each and every one of you to this quest. Thank you.